Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are discussing about the SQL basic command in this SQL series. So in the last video we already discussed about the AND operator or operator, between operator, then not operator and in operator. You can see that on the screen. We discussed that with the example. In today's video we are going to discuss about the insert into the statement. So what exactly the insert into and why we use the insert into statement in the SQL? So basically it is used to add a new rows to a table. So when you saw the data, suppose this is my table, right? Employee details table, which we are using from this last few lecture. So this is my table where I have the 6 records, right? And these are all the employee details I have added here. Suppose I want more records in this table. Suppose there are new joined employee and I want their details in my table. So for that purpose, we can use the insert into statement to add the new record. There are two ways we can use the insert into the statement. So the first thing is we can insert value for all the columns. So I can mention the value for all the columns which are present. And the second way is we can insert values for the specific column. Suppose I just want to add the employee ID, first name, last name, that's it. I'm not sure about this detail because this detail are yet to fix or we need to get the update on this detail. So I want to keep those detail as a blank, then I can do that also using the insert into statement. So let's see how we can do that. So for that, I'm clicking on the new query. So here, the first, I will just copy paste this statement, the select star from employee detail. So we will get the idea about all the columns which are present. So the first thing is I'm going to do is we will see how we can insert values for all the columns. So this is the first way. So for that I'm going to write insert into, and here we need to write our table name. So my table name is the employee details. In bracket, I need to mention all the columns name which are present in the table because we are going to see, we are going to add all the values for all the columns. So that's why I need to mention all the column name. So when you start writing here, you can see the SQL is giving the suggestion also for the column name. So the first one is employee ID, then the first name, and then last name. If I change the sequence, that is also fine, but the value when you are giving, you need to give in the same way how the you gave the column name. So here I'm writing the email, then there is a phone number, hire date, department, and the salary. So we are having all this column and I want to add the data for all this column. So first we mention the insert into. This is our statement to add the data in the table. So insert into, mention the table name, and after that mention the column name where you want to add the data. So currently I want to add the data in all the columns. So I have mentioned all the column name. If you want to change the sequence, you can change the sequence. But the same sequence you need to follow when you are giving the value for these columns. So after mentioning all the column name, we need to mention the values, and in bracket you can mention all the values you want to add. So for example, here suppose I want to add the employee details. Like the first one is the employee ID, which is the numerical value. So I don't need to add in single quote. I can directly add. Then the first name I'm writing as a Prem, then comma, then second name, suppose Kumar. Then we need to add the email ID. that also we need to add in a single quote, as this is a string. Prem dot kumar @gmail.com I'm adding. Okay. Then we need to add the phone number. So phone number I'm adding as a string only. So here 123 321 and then 1234. This is just the sample data we are adding. Then higher date I need to add. So higher date we can mention 2025 0102. And then department name I can add here. So department name I'm adding as a IT, and the salary I'm adding as a 81,000. So here, if you're not sure about what exactly the data type of this particular column, so from this data also you can guess what exactly the data type, and from the column name also you can understand, like employee ID is the integer value, first name is a string. But if you are not aware about what is the limit, then you can check from here as well. When you go to the tables, when you open your DBO employee table, open the columns. When you go here, you can select here and check here. You can see what is the data type and what is the limit, everything mentioned here for all the column name. There is the another way to check the data type and the limit that I will explain you later using the query. So first thing, let's execute this command. So let's just cross confirm. Employee ID we added, first name, last name, then email ID we added here, then the phone number we added, then hire date, department, and the salary. So let's execute this one. You can see one row is affected. That means the one row is added into our table. So let's check that. We can execute this query, select star from employee detail, and you can see at the 7 number, employee 7, our details are added here. Okay, so let's see one more example. Suppose I want to insert the value just for the specific column, then how can I do that? So in that case, suppose I just want to add the employee ID, first name and the last name. Other details I don't have right now. So I just want to add this detail, then how we can do that? So for that also you need to write first insert into, then mention the table name, that is the employee details. After table name, mention the column name where you want to add the data. So I want to add the data in employee ID, then the first name, and then you can mention the column name as the last name. So I want to add this three column details. So after mentioning the column name where you want to add the data, write values and add values for particular columns. Employee ID I'm giving as a 8, and then employee data I'm giving as a name Jen, and the last name I'm adding as a Johnson. That's it. So I just want to add the three column details here. So that's why I just mentioned three column name, employee ID, first name and the last name, and I added just three values. So in that case, let's see how exactly it is showing in the table. So I executed this query. It is showing one row affected. It's successfully executed. Now let's see how exactly it is showing in the table. Now if you see the eighth record here, so here you can see the first name and the last name, whatever we have passed here is gets added. Email ID, phone number, hire date, department, and salary. We have not added any details for that one, so it is null. So this is the way you can add the some of the column details. So if you're not mention another column details, then it will come as the null. Let's see one more example. Like here we have mentioned the all the column name where we want to add the data for all the columns. then in that case we don't need to mention all the column name. So this is the way this will also work, but there is the another way, like if you not mention the column name, then it will take in the same order where the table is created. So I need to pass the values in the same order how's the column mentioned in the table. So for that I'm copying this entire query and I'm mentioning here, and I'm just removing this part. So we don't need to mention the column name here, and whatever the data I have already written, it is in the same format, it is in the same sequence of what the column name present in my table. So this is the condition. If you are not mentioning the column name in your query, the data you are passing should be in the same sequence what you have mentioned in the or what it is already added in the table. So for that, I'm creating here uh, the employee ID as the 9. Instead of the Prem, I'm mentioning Joey. Last name I'm keeping as it is. Here just I'm changing the email ID. Just change phone number, hire date, salary I'm going to change as 80,000, and the department I'm keeping it as IT. And let's execute this query. You can see the one row is affected, and now if you check here you can see the data is added successfully. So you need to make sure that whatever the data you are passing, when you are not mentioning the column name, it should be in the same sequence how the column mentioned in the table. So at the start we discuss, if you are not aware about the data type and what exactly the limit for the data, you can change check here from the tables, go to the tables, and in the columns you can check that, you can see here. And I told there is another way you can check using the query. So for that you can write select star from information schema. If you check the if you type information schema, you will get it as a suggestion. Information schema dot, I want to check the schema of my columns, so I'm writing here columns. Okay, from which table I want to check. So I want to check for our table employee details. So where table name, here you can see the table name is equal to, what is the table name, employee details, and just execute this one. So here you can see all the columns for the table employee. So the table name is the employee details, and all the columns are coming with the position also. So employee ID it at the first position, first name at the second, and like that, and the salary at the eighth position. So here you can see the data type for all the columns and what is the maximum length. So basically you can run this information schema query to check what exactly the data type and the character length or the numerical value length for all the columns mentioned in that particular table. So this is the another way from where you can check the data type and the limit length for the particular column. So that's it for the today, guys. So we have discussed the three ways to write the insert into command. So the first thing, we have mentioned all the column name and provided all the column values here. If you want to change the sequence, you can change the column name sequence. Yet you don't need to follow the exact pattern how the column name is added into the table. But in the same way, you need to write the values as well. There is another we discuss is that you can add the sum of the column values as well. Every time you don't need to add all the column values. In that case, whatever the column data you have not mentioned, the value will come as the null for all those column. Then the third way is, suppose if you want to add the data for all the columns, then you don't need to mention the column name, but whatever the values you are passing, that should be in the same sequence of how the column is mentioned in the table. There are two ways you can check the data type and the length limit for your columns. You can go to your database, go to your table, and check the columns here. You can see the data type and the character length from here. And the another way is you can go to the information schema columns. You can mention your table name and check the data type and the character length and all other details from the here. So that's it for the today, guys. In the next video we will discuss some more SQL basic. So make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and press that notification bell icon so you will get notified every time I post the new video. So thank you for watching this video till the end and have a nice day.